The Batman? Is it bad, man? Hi, I'm Randy McLeod, and welcome to our spoiler-free beginning discussion review of The Batman. I'm joined today by Noah Garbutt.
Hello there.
Hi, Noah. How's it going, man?
Got off work. I have donut in me now. So like
full of donut.
I'm full of donut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good to go.
Hell yeah. We had a good laugh about the prospect of being full of donut. But that's not why you clicked on the video. We're here to talk about Matt Reeves' The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. And little did we know, Colin Farrell? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, who plays the Penguin.
He does.
And he is hidden in there.
You would not be able to tell.
He has got prosthetics up the wazoo.
He is not even himself.
Nope.
He is just made out of rubber.
He's also really funny because, like, he'll be like, he's got like a New Yorker kind of accent. So he's like, hey, take it easy, you know.
Ah, come on.
Come on. I think there was a part where he said
yes,
easy.
and I lost my shit when I heard that.
Fuck, that was funny. Yeah, so I'd say like the first 10 minutes or so are going to be spoiler-free, our thoughts, whether we think you should go see the movie. And then we're going to get into spoilers after that. So go out and watch the movie and then come back after that and listen to us talk about spoilers. But we'll let you know when we get into spoiler territory. To start off, I want to turn to you, Noah. What did you think of The Batman? What were you thinking going into it? What were you thinking coming out of it?
Okay, so this might sound a little political. I have never fully watched a Batman movie from start to finish.
It's not political. A divisive thing does not make it political.
No, I have never seen a full Batman movie from start to finish, unless it's like a cartoon movie that I watched when I was like 6.
I genuinely forgot about that. I knew that about you, but I kind of like suppressed that in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So this was my first Batman movie ever, technically. And
they're typically not this long.
No.
No.
No, and that's one thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But going into it, I really wasn't expecting much because I have nothing to base it off of. But leaving the theater, I was happy.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
It was a good movie. It was a good time. Cool. So I've seen pretty much all the Batman movies. Well, no, I've seen the Christopher Nolan movies. I watched Batman v Superman. So I've seen like...
Oh, I don't count Batman vs. Superman. I've seen that. But...
Yeah. I've seen 2 different iterations of Batman. Like Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, right? Affleck. But now we got Robert Pattinson. And let me tell you, coming into this movie, I was excited because we had gotten... Do you remember I think it was about 2 years ago, there was the Fandome, the DC Fandome. Probably not, because it was like a 12-hour live stream where they showed off a bunch of DC stuff. And it was funny because they knew that they didn't have a lot going for this. So they were like, hey, make sure to stick around. We got a Batman trailer coming.
Oh, God.
And then, like, 11 hours in, it's like, hold on just a little longer.
Come on. Stay with us.
Yeah. And then they showed the trailer, and it was one of the fucking best trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That trailer got me so hyped up because it has a Nirvana song in the background, and it shows, like, Batman beating the fuck out of somebody. It's really good. And then 2 years later, here we are. And I found this movie to be okay.
Yep. I
walked out of the theater, and I thought to myself, that was fine.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I would call it good. And in my thoughts, I was like, I equated it to like, I thought it was good, not great. I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Which you could say like going in with such high expectations it can only lead to downfall. But coming out of the movie, seeing 3 trailers and each of them being like, oh my God, this movie looks incredible. And I came out of it and I was kind of just like, it sucks because when your expectations are so high and they're not quite met, you'll feel like, oh, that wasn't that good. It was still good. I think this movie is quite good.
Oh yeah.
I think it's. I think it gets a little. The world is awesome. They do a fantastic job of creating a city that is shit. Like Gotham is shit.
Yeah.
And it's corrupt. It's disgusting. It's kind of like when you're Joker came out a while ago, and they also made the city look like absolute garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's literally like garbage strikes.
Yeah.
You know, like it was really like that showed Gotham being a shitty place to be, and this showed Gotham to be a pretty shitty place as well, because we only see it at night.
Even though we only see it in night, well, I guess we don't only see it in night. There is one scene that's not in night. They do show it to be a really shitty place, but I'm glad they didn't do like the cop out where they just make everything super dark and have like the odd trash bag here and there.
Yeah.
They showed criminal activity happening
Mm-hmm.
that was going unchecked, and they didn't shy away from adding extra details into it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up like the fact that a lot of the city infrastructure is
Mm-hmm.
creaky. Like the subway that we've seen in other movies is like, well, you haven't seen, but like
It's dirty.
yeah, it's disgusting, and like the lights are flickering and they don't work very well, and like yeah, it's not a nice place to be.
Yeah, and they didn't just make all the scenes dark, so you have to like squint to figure out what's actually there and not.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't shy away from any of that. They actually had proper lighting and everything, even though it was still like crappy lighting.
Yeah.
For the theme of it.
Yeah, I think to bounce off that, I think this movie stylistically is gorgeous.
Yes.
Like in a world where in a world of superhero movies that have come out for the last 20 years or not 20 years, like 10, 15 years, where everybody always makes the same complaint that all these movies look the same. Like since Iron Man 1, everybody's always like, oh, all these Marvel movies look the same.
Following the Marvel formula.
Yeah. And then the Zack Snyder movies were super dark.
Yes.
And everybody was like, oh, these are way
can't
too
see
dark.
anything.
Yeah, exactly. This movie, like, stylistically used color, used shots, used, like, just film technique in a way where I was like, wow, this is visually distinct from anything I've seen. And it looks beautiful. Like, there are shots where Batman is standing on, like, I'll be vague here, but he's standing up very high, and he's looking out at the city, and, like, it's right when daybreak is happening. And I was like, God damn, that is so pretty. Like, that is beautifully shot. So yeah, stylistically, this movie excels. The only thing that really drags it down for me is the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this was a great Batman story. Or like not even a great Batman story. I don't think this is a great story in general. I think like they swung too many times, and they're swinging for too. What's my analogy here?
They're swinging for the fences.
No, they're swinging too frequently for the amount of balls they're being tossed. If that makes sense. Like
there's too many branching stories.
Yeah. There's too much going on in this movie.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, we didn't need 3 hours. You needed to cut out maybe a couple plot lines.
Well, and that's one of the things. Like watching the movie, I thought that the movie was going to end like 40 minutes before it actually did.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in spoilers, but there's a definitive part where I'm like, you could have ended here.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
You could have stopped right then and there. Especially, like, are they going to be making a sequel?
Not quite confirmed, but I do believe that we got 2 spin-off shows coming off of it, and a sequel is likely greenlit.
Okay.
Considering it's already doing bangers at the box office after its opening weekend.
Yeah, it made $234 million.
Yeah, on a budget of like 200. I think it was like 200 million.
Yeah.
So, it's doing all right, and I think like people like nobody expected this to be a one-off.
No.
You know, you don't get a new Batman and just use him once and then be like, all right, off to the next Batman.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I just don't. I don't vibe with the story at all. I think, like, some
They tried to introduce a lot of characters
Yeah.
for
And
a single. Like, I think they tried to introduce. Hold on, let me think. One, two, four, five significant Batman characters,
mhm.
and you're trying to do all of that and give them all screen time.
You gotta juggle all of them. There's a point in the film where like I was watching it, and I'll stay vague again, but like there's a bit in the film where we get about like 20 minutes into this little like subplot, like sub adventure, you know, like a side quest that does contribute to the main quest, but like, you know, and I was just like, where's this character? Because I forgot about the character until I was like, oh shit, yeah, we're doing this to get to that. And
Yeah.
it just didn't work. It was. Here's the thing: the story was serviceable, in my opinion, but it didn't do anything to hook me, or at any point was I like feeling for anybody. I was never like super engaged in what was happening.
No.
There was some points where I was kind of like, what?
You don't ever get attached to any one character.
Not even Batman.
Because they don't have anything going for them.
No.
You haven't built any history with these characters. You're like I said, you have too many characters for people to even try and remember. Like there's no building blocks. There's no foundation to feel any sort of sentiment to anybody.
Yeah. And especially because this movie drops the viewer into Batman's second year. So things have happened in his first year and is leading up to this. Like, there's already a pre-established relationship between Batman and the police, right? We don't get that. And I appreciate that, because otherwise we would have seen...
we would have seen the same old...
Martha and Thomas Wayne getting murdered outside the theater.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't...
I think they knew that they couldn't do that.
We didn't get an explicit scene of it, but they did still have some minor references here and there to it.
Yeah. That's fine.
They kind of have to.
Yeah. I don't mind that at all, because we all know.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. That's the meme about Batman.
Yep.
You know.
Dead parents.
Classic.
Hilarious.
So funny. You know. Got a good chuckle. Last thing I want to point out before we get to spoilers. Well, a couple quick things. The score in this movie is incredible.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. They use, like, 3 songs. And you might think to yourself, like, oh, man, that's just going to reuse 3 songs? No. They use 3 songs in a way where I was floored. Anytime I heard the Batman theme, anytime, any rendition that they did, because they played around with it, too. But, like, whenever you hear those signature notes, I'm just like, oh, this is going to stick with me. Like, Michael Giacchino, the guy who did the score, he is an artist.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, as soon as like the Batman theme was on, you knew some shit was about to go down. And they would sometimes just like slowly flutter it in, so you wouldn't even know when it started. It would just kind of like...
It would creep up on you.
It would just slowly build up.
Yeah, that was incredible. Stylistically, it was great. And then my last thing is just like, I'm walking away from this movie in a sense where I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this movie again.
So the way that I'm kind of treating it right now is I walked out of it, first Batman movie, I was like, oh yeah, no, that was a great movie. Then the way that I kind of determine how much I really enjoyed a movie is when soonest am I going to like rewatch it.
Yeah.
And to me, this feels like a movie that, you know what, I've seen it. I don't think I really need to watch it. I'm definitely not going to watch it in theaters again.
No.
If it comes out on, I don't know what streaming platform.
Probably Crave, like Crave. HBO Max, because they have a deal.
If I see it on Crave while I'm scrolling and I have nothing else to watch,
sure,
I probably still won't watch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'll look for something new.
Yeah.
It's not
that isn't 3 hours.
That isn't 3 hours. Yeah, it's got that length where it's a commitment. It might be something that like, if it just happens to come up on TV while it's running in the background, then I'll stop, watch, and be like, oh, cool. And then I'll go back to doing whatever I was doing, like washing dishes or something.
Totally. I think I'm right there in the same boat. Like, if somebody asked me to go watch this movie again, I would. Because, like, I always love going to the movies.
Yeah.
Like the theater experience is great. But I walked out of this movie I'm not floored. And I was really hoping to be floored. I was really hoping to be to love this movie.
You were hoping to be blown away.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I just wasn't. And I think that comes down to the story not being strong enough. I think the visuals and the film style itself was and the score carried this movie hard. And but I sound negative. This is by no means a bad movie.
No.
This is not a bad man movie, you know? Like, this isn't bad, man. Anyone? But, it just wasn't great. And I really wanted it to be great.
There's still issues with it.
Yeah, and we'll get into those pretty quickly here. Do you have any closing thoughts before we get there?
I don't think so.
No?
Well, I guess one thing that I'm happy with that they didn't do is a lot of movies, especially superhero movies, at the end, they'll have some sort of build up to either a sequel or they'll have a cameo of someone. And you'll be like, oh my God, how does this play into the story and everything? They just ended the movie.
Kind of.
At the end, they just...
At the end, yes.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, they just... This is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
He is Batman.
Yep. There are hints.
Yeah. Yeah, there are hints at the very end, but it's not something that's at the end of the credits or anything.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
The movie had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
Yeah.
It had a definitive end, and that's all it really needed to show.
Yeah, totally. As an introduction to this world and this Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, we are going to switch over to spoilers. So, Dan, if you want to throw in a spoiler warning,
I'm not going to do that because you literally already told everybody that there were spoilers coming, and you also said at the start of this that this was going to be a spoiler talk, so if they haven't figured out that there are spoilers coming,
if you haven't seen the movie,
turn back. Go watch it.
And care about spoilers.
I should say, I do recommend going to see the movie.
Oh,
But honestly, I wouldn't rush out to see it.
No.
If you have a Friday evening and you don't have anything to do for 3 hours, first of all, I envy you. Second of all,
Must
go.
be nice.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, I'd go see it.
Yeah.
It's a good time at the theater. I had a good time.
You get to tell people, yeah, I went to the movies and I watched Batman.
Yeah, starts a conversation.
Exactly.
Just like we're about to have a spoiler conversation, starting now. Okay.
What's the first spoiler you want to talk about?
Honestly, I just want to get it out of the way. The Joker thing.
The Joker thing?
Coming into this movie, I explained this to you before we even went to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I swear to God, I hope that they do not do the Joker right away. I hope they don't blow their load on the Joker immediately. And what do they do, Noah?
They didn't blow it immediately, though.
No, not immediately. Otherwise, this movie would have been marketed as Batman versus the Joker, and that would have sucked. Yeah. Obviously, I'm glad that they didn't do that. But just hold your horses, please.
Mm-hmm.
Don't...
Stop falling on that crutch.
You don't need it. Because you just showed that you can have a pretty creepy villain with the Riddler. You can have a creepy guy, and you can reinvent a character that is typically a goofy ass, what's 1 + 2?
I think the issue is that Batman doesn't have any villains that are at the same caliber as Joker to him.
Yeah. But you could make a villain become that caliber.
That's true, you could.
Yeah. With a good enough writing team, you can elevate the Polka Dot Man, which we saw in the Suicide Squad.
You absolutely could do Mr. Freeze. You could do. You already did Bane.
You could do a good Bane though.
You could do a good Bane. Mm-hmm. Firefly, Man-Bat,
Court of Owls.
Court of Owls would have been awesome because that's something that we haven't seen yet. We've seen Joker. We've seen Bane. Now we've seen the Riddler. Mm-hmm. You could have Deathstroke.
Yep.
That would be.
I'd watch that.
I would sell a body part for that.
Oh shit! Which one?
Let's not get into that. I don't want you to know that answer.
Okay, for sure. All right, sorry. I just wanted to know what level of dedication that you were wanting this.
No, you don't.
Okay. All right, never mind. But yeah, that's my point. Is that you have an entire rogues gallery to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a drug that you can't get away from. And to be fair, this might be the tease for 2 movies down the line.
Well, and like another thing, they did Joker, but they also did like the Joker movie did phenomenally.
Yep.
It was a great movie.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if they're going to try, because now they have kind of like dialed in what people are after, because it seems like a lot of like the Joker at least, and the Riddler almost had like mental illness aspects to him.
Yep. I think he very much did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know that was a controversial point for the Joker, is a lot of people were worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they do it well enough that that's not like the focus point of the villain, is that they're just mentally ill.
Yeah.
Even though in the comic books
that's an aspect.
Yeah. It's just more of like a factor that goes into making their character.
Totally.
So I'm thinking that they could definitely do Joker again,
Mm-hmm.
and they could maybe take a slightly different route. They have it dialed in. They have heard people's feedback on what they thought of Joker. They know what people liked about it.
Yep.
So they could definitely do it again, and this time it would be a Joker that clearly has more criminal connections, capable of doing much bigger things as opposed to just killing a TV show host.
Yeah, true.
And it could be very interesting where it goes. However, all goes back to we've already seen Joker before.
The Joker feels like an oversaturated market at this point. The
Hmm.
fact that the Joker got his own
His own movie.
standalone movie with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker that's a version of the Joker.
Mhm.
We've got Jack Nicholson's Joker from way back in the day. We've got what's his name? Oh, the best one.
Mark Hamill?
No. Well, Mark Hamill's great too. He's a great voice actor for the Joker. But I'm talking like
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
oh my god, why can't I remember his name?
I know exactly who you're talking
Anyway, we have Jared Leto's, which was bad.
Yeah.
But that was a rendition of it.
Yeah.
We've had Zach Galifianakis as the Joker in the
Did
Lego
we?
movie.
Oh, yeah, I guess we
Or
did.
the Lego Batman movie. And now we have Barry Keoghan as the Joker in this movie. What is his name from Dark Knight? Oh my god, somebody's yelling at me right now. I guarantee it. Anyway.
We have a lot of Jokers.
Oh my god, it's gonna kill me. Please kill time while I look up. It's not Jared Leto. What's his name? It is. It's gonna. Yeah. Hold on.
It's not coming to me.
It's
either.
Heath Ledger.
There.
Heath Ledger's Joker, which I mean, let's be real, is
You're
the best Joker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you haven't seen the movie.
I've heard great things.
Yeah, he's great. He's really good.
I've seen the picture of him doing a kickflip over Batman.
Yeah, that happens in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's canon now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Christopher Nolan had a vision and he executed.
damn, I guess I'll have to watch that movie now.
What was my point? Oh yeah, we're oversaturated.
Yeah. Too
Much like
Joker.
how we're oversaturated with like Harley Quinn. Or I feel like we're getting to that point of like, holy shit, like Joker and Harley Quinn are everywhere.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from because she has her own cartoon show.
Yeah, she's got her own animated show. She's got, she was in Suicide Squad. She was in The Suicide Squad.
Well, and the actress, I can't remember her name. She has said that she wants to take a break from Harley Quinn.
Good.
But at the same time, that has also never stopped anybody from casting a new Joker.
No, of course not.
So,
but yeah, I just, my big thing is like, stylistically, he looks dope. Like, we only saw a silhouette of Barry Keoghan's Joker.
His side profile looks,
It's creepy.
it looks like a clown.
Yeah. Like, his hair is really sparse, and he's
He
got
has-
like a
he has-
scarred fucking face.
He has the nose.
He looks like the Arkhamverse, like the Rocksteady games.
Yeah.
Looks like that Joker.
Oh yeah.
Like Mark Hamill's Joker. But I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Show me another cool rendition. I remember when they first showed off the Riddler for this movie, and I was like, holy shit, that's really cool. You're going with the serial killer aspect of the Riddler. You're making the Riddler, who's a fucking weirdo.
I used to hate the Riddler.
Yeah, he's annoying.
In like the cartoon.
Yeah.
He's just this dude in green spandex with a purple question mark cane. And
He's ridiculous.
I hated him. He would have these I hate riddles.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his whole thing.
Speaking of the Riddler, what do you think of him in this movie?
Oh, I
Like
loved
on
him.
a spoiler level.
I I didn't know any of the cast members besides Robert Pattinson going into the movie. So seeing the Riddler unmasked took me for a loop.
Oh, like seeing Paul Dano's face. Yeah.
Because like it didn't suit like the mask that he was wearing or anything.
Totally.
The voice.
He's got a very baby face, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he does. He looks like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And
shit grin.
all my experience with Riddler in like video games or cartoons, the Riddler's usually like this tall, lanky dude that has either, I think it's like black hair, or in a lot of cases is a ginger, and with like curly hair. Like he's basically a clown.
Yes.
And this was nothing like that. This is just some shut-in introvert.
Yeah, this is a recluse orphan that has way too much time on his hands.
Yeah.
It has an obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay, that's one thing that I was thinking about. All these crimes that he's committed, how is he funding these?
That's a good question.
Because like he said that he had vans parked along the seawall in I almost called it Golfin. Gotham.
Yeah.
Like that shit's expensive. Do you know what the car market's like right now?
It's Gotham, man.
I guess.
Let's be real. Like apartments there are probably like $200 a month because it's just dog shit.
That's
like
true.
It's the slums.
I guess.
But
still,
I see what you mean.
Funding all that stuff as being like an orphan that was probably just like kicked into a ditch after he was 18.
Yeah. I will say he's probably got his money from
illicit means.
Yeah, probably from like blackmail. Because he was very good at just scoping people out.
Yeah, that is also true.
Or when he murdered people,
yes,
he would steal their money. So I think that's how he did it. But you're right. He's very well. It seemed like he was very well.
He was well off.
Yeah, I thought he was cool. I thought he was cool until he went away for like an hour of the movie. You know what I'm talking about? When they go and deal with Falcone for like what felt like an hour, but was probably only half an hour. I was just like, yeah, that was my thing when I was talking about in the non-spoiler part. Like, we were like a good 40 minutes into the Falcone shit, and which was not working for me.
No,
and
it wasn't.
And then I thought to myself, like, where the fuck is the Riddler?
Yes,
because I forgot about him.
Yes,
because we were so fucking focused on Falcone.
And that's like the thing with the whole splitting stories. Like we had the Riddler to worry about. We had Commissioner Gordon to worry about. We had all these murderers that then we had to learn all their backstories and why they got murdered.
Yep.
And then we had Falcone. Then we had Catwoman.
Well, hold on. We had Falcone, but we also had Maroni.
Yes, we had to figure out who the fuck these Maroni guys are.
Bro, I genuinely like
Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. Here's what made me so mad. I was watching this movie. And Falcone's like, I didn't kill your dad, but I'm pretty sure it was Maroni. And I was sitting there, I was like, who the fuck is Maroni again?
Yeah.
Because Maroni and Falcone sound the same.
Yes.
And I was sitting there, and I was genuinely like a good 10 minutes. And I was like, who the fuck is Maroni?
Well, and then it goes into the backstory of Thomas and Martha Wayne.
And I don't give a shit.
No.
I do not care about his parents.
Martha Wayne was in and out of asylums. I don't give a shit.
Nobody cares, you know? Like they focus. I feel like this movie stumbles so hard in so many aspects of the story where who gives a shit? Who gives a flying fuck about his parents? Why are we spending so much time on Falcone?
Catwoman keeps popping up. She's
cool.
Oh yeah, no, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Then she has a girlfriend or someone who's staying with her. Or we don't know this relationship.
Oh man,
that we see
that is just resolved later.
Yeah,
like it just happens.
It just happens. She gets over it so quickly. Oh, she's dead. Oh, well, let me go
kidnap the dude and like
kidnap the guy.
Oh, and that's her body in this car, I guess. Like,
and she's just over it immediately. Sees the body and is like, okay, bye. Gonna go steal this bag of money from not Falcone. From Falcone.
Not Maroni.
And dip
Macaroni. You know what I mean?
Like she doesn't pause or anything. She isn't stunned.
No, she was stunned, to be fair. And then she was very much like she was doing the classic Batman thing, like for vengeance.
Yeah.
She went and found that cop who kind of cool scene. I like that scene where they're up on the thing and she's like beating the shit out of him. I didn't like how long we were just standing there listening to a voice message.
Yeah.
And all the actors are just like reacting to that. I'm like, okay, you know, it would have been cool if we saw this scene.
Yeah, there's that. There's the somehow established relationship between Bruce Wayne and Falcone.
Yep.
And then we have to
I guess.
learn about, I guess Bruce Wayne has been like holed up in his house for the past year because nobody's seen him until this one random dude's funeral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a recluse, and it's like, oh, yeah, I wonder where he's been. Also, the Batman showed up a year ago, you know?
And then Alfred shows up, and he's just apparently a master sleuth at figuring out ciphers.
I loved that. To be fair, if I can compliment this movie, the detective aspect of it is fantastic. I think, like, Batman walking around all quiet, like, and, like, always having the answer to Riddler's riddles was so, like, was awesome.
Yeah.
Because it brought a different element to the character. Because that is the classic thing whenever people talk about Batman in terms of, like, the character. They're like, the world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in film.
And they really bring that to light when, towards the end of the movie, they get the murder weapon.
Yes.
For, like, the first guy. And the guy's just like, oh, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's...
He calls it...
Or no, it's... Sorry. He's like, oh, yeah, that's a murder weapon. It's like, yeah, it matches the indent on the floor from the guy at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why'd you say that to the cop? He's not going to know.
Yeah, that's true. I also loved how he's in his second year, but he's cool. He's got cool tech. You know, like the contact lens thing, I didn't know was a thing. And then he brought it out, and I'm like, that's really cool.
The grapple gun just popping out of his like, arm plate.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
The wingsuit was dope. Like seeing it like wrap around him and then like the squirrel suit like just flying.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, they did.
And then he eats shit.
He almost fucking dies.
God damn. But yeah, I thought that was really, really cool.
Oh, the car?
Oh, the Batmobile.
The car?
That sequence.
That was my favorite part of the movie.
Absolutely. Holy shit. Just the sound.
Oh.
I put it in a tweet, but I was just like, that shit sounded dirty.
It did.
Yeah, like that. That was.
It was the deepest V8 rumble you've ever heard in your life.
And just like hearing it start up and like start to rumble, and then he's revving it, and
you can hear the
nothing cool, the blue
SWAT
flame coming out the back. Holy shit, that was good.
Supercharger whine, and then the one scene, like during the chase scene.
Yeah, which is the best part of the movie.
Yeah, he's chasing Penguin, and Penguin causes a horrific roadside collision.
Jesus Christ.
And
a lot of semis on this highway.
And fucking Batman does the goddamn, there's just conveniently a semi-truck with its ramps
looks
down.
like a ram.
And like as soon as that happened, I was like, wow, where have I seen this before?
I didn't care.
Cars 1.
I didn't care because I knew what was about to happen. And I was like, fuck, let's go.
And it's like in any like Crazy Taxi, GTA, like you see this stuff happening, you're just like, oh, we know what's about to happen.
Yeah. We've been conditioned to know what the ramp means.
Huge fireball, and you get the like rear view mirror shot of Penguin like laughing, thinking,
holy fuck, I love that. I got you! I got you!
You psychopath!
I got you! And then the fucking Batmobile just fucking shoots out of the flames.
And then like Lightning McQueen through the smoke. You got Batman.
This is actually a sequel.
No, it is the exact same scene. Because in Cars 1, Chick Hicks causes a massive accident.
I know, yeah. You're not wrong. However, this was cooler. And the score for this part, especially.
Oh, when he's out of the car and he's just slowly walking up to Penguin in his flipped car.
Oh, my God. And he's just slowly walking up. However, cut that scene maybe by a minute.
Oh, it took forever.
Because he walks towards the car. And then we get a shot of Penguin upside down. He's just like, and then Batman just kind of leans down. And he's like, hey.
You could have cut that last scene.
It's goofy.
Like imagine somebody's like on the sidewalk's perspective, just sees this caped figure walk up to a car, and then like imagine just bending over at the waist at a 90-degree to look inside.
And he's just standing there. I'm just like, who's going to talk first here? Like, what are you doing?
Some of their shots did take too long.
Yeah, we stay on some shots for way too long, man.
Oh, you know what? I just thought about this. This is
Please.
one shot that really like had me questioning. So at the end, when Gotham is flooding because the seawall's fucked,
Yeah.
everybody goes into a stadium where the new mayor is about to give a speech.
By the way, a bowl.
A bowl.
A bowl.
A bowl.
Where water will flow into the bowl.
Anyways, and then all of Riddler's followers are up on the Jumbotron with just hunting rifles. How they got in there, I don't know. Literally every cop in the city is there, but hey, let's just let these guys with rifles in.
Skylines, let me tell you, that's the easiest way into buildings in this fucking city.
The best way of dropping in on these villains on the Jumbotron is clearly by blowing up all the glass on the skylight.
It's all about surprise.
Where all the civilians are underneath.
And very prone to glass falling on them.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But that was kind of cool. Let's be real.
It was cool, but like there's explosions going off to break the glass. Like all this glass.
Batman was thinking like acceptable casualties, man.
You know that this is a huge skylight. The glass on it is gonna be big. It's gonna be chunks, and it's just gonna be falling on these pedestrians that are running from their life from the flood.
Yeah, you're right. I can't excuse that. Batman very much went to the school of style and not like utility or like saving others.
Except he does in every other scene. Like there's an elevator scene where he's fighting people. Well, he's not in the elevator. He is in the elevator, but it comes up to the top floor.
That was dope.
There's nobody there. He's just chilling on the ceiling.
That was cool.
He could have done that. He's got the tech.
He was in a hurry, man.
He could have just dropped his foot. I'm sure he has a glass breaker. He's Batman. He's got gadgets.
He does have the Batarang like on his chest
Which
that he could have just like cut a circle.
Well, he could have done that. He could have just smashed a single pane.
Yeah, it's a great point. No, maximum effect, maximum carnage.
But no, maximum glass break.
On a positive note, god damn, I loved his suit.
It was really good.
Anytime I saw the cape, I was distracted by the fact that I was like, that cape looks awesome.
I really liked his like chest armor and
stuff.
It wasn't like form fitting. It was literally like plates.
Yeah, totally. Annoyed that the beginning of the movie shows he has like taser fists, and then he never uses them again. Yeah,
never use it again, and then proceeds to use his grappling hook any chance he gets.
Absolutely.
Shoots it through a man's leg.
That's the thing. Like, this isn't. They went for a PG-13 rating on this, and like he used the grappling hook on some people, and I was like, did that go through his leg? I couldn't tell because they're not allowed to show it. But like they definitely did. So yeah, style-wise, this movie's fantastic. Mm-hmm. It nails the suit, it nails the Batmobile, it nails the city. Catwoman's costume is actually really dope.
It is.
Like, it's just a beanie, but like cut out. And it looks like a cat, little cat ears.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out because, like, obviously it is just a beanie. Yeah. She doesn't call herself Catwoman. She does love cats.
Very much so.
She has a thing for strays.
Got a thing for strays.
But, like,
clever line.
Does she put in, like, foam triangles?
I think so.
Okay.
I think she just loves cats.
That's
and
fair.
she's a cat burglar.
That's fair.
So
fair.
I mean, the Batman's dressed like a bat.
But true.
Yeah, stylistically, I thought this movie was great. But, like, I'm just going to harp on these little things that just didn't add up to the plot. Like, a good story.
Oh, I have another little thing.
Please.
In it, they solve something in Spanish. I don't know.
I don't
know the exact words, but they translate it to English.
Yeah.
And
El Rata.
Something like that.
Yeah, Atada.
And they're just like, it means rat with wings.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I bet you they're probably thinking of, like, something, like... Because, like, in French, chauve-souris is just flying mouse.
How do you know that?
Because I went I went to a French immersion school.
You know French. I'm sorry.
Which is just flying mouse. So I was thinking, oh, clearly, like, that's got to be a connection. I was holding on to that with my life.
You were like, I figured it out.
I was like, I figured this out. I know what a flying rat is. It's a bat.
Yeah.
And then Penguin says it, and then it's like, okay, no, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
My bad.
I don't even know what the solution to that fucking riddle was.
No, I didn't either.
They're talking like a falcon, like
Rata.
Falcone.
Well, because they go from...
El Rata
to
La Rata
to Penguin. Penguin offers absolutely nothing, and then just comes into their mind, hey, Falcone sounds like Falcon.
Yeah, and then, like... it turned into URL,
Yeah.
which is led to the website,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
which led to Alfred. I don't know. That's the thing. This movie starts out with Paul Dano's like, I'll call him this character's name. The Riddler's like riddles were actually quite clever. Like, what?
No more lies.
Yeah.
What does a liar do when he's dead? Still lies.
Lies still. Right. And then lies still is like the key to the cipher that he was given. And then they fuck with the cipher and it says drive. And earlier they show that they cut off his thumb. And drive goes over to the car because drive and car.
Thumb drive.
It looks for the USB because Batman's already figured it out. Thumb drive. And I'm like, that's really fucking clever.
Yes. And then they're stuck on La Rata for like half the movie.
And the solution is URL.
Yeah.
URL Rata. And I was just like, okay. Like,
It felt like such a stretch. And then bring him to light, and he just happens to
bring
Falcone.
That.
Just happens to bring Falcone
what a
out
coincidental
of the club
Yeah.
under a stop or under a street light.
Street lamp, yep.
And he just gets shot.
Yep. And it's a PG-13 movie, so you can't actually show him get shot, I guess? Because I was like, did he get shot? Because there's no blood.
No.
And I was like, is he fine? He's like, no, I'm dead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and it looked like he got shot in like the shoulder or something, and then he just decided to give up on life.
Here's the thing. I had two problems with this movie in terms of people not understanding their assignment. Paul Dano, or the Riddler, puts a bomb on the guy in the church.
Yes.
And then it blows up. With Batman, point
Yes.
blank in front of the man.
Yes.
And I understand, like, Batman put his arm up in front of his jaw to, like, shield his face, because I guess his suit is bomb-proof.
I didn't even see that.
I didn't either, but somebody mentioned it to me later, and I was like, oh, I guess. But no, that's not how bombs work.
No.
Unless this was a bomb that only shot upwards and consumed the head.
Which
of this
certainly
guy?
did not.
Mm-mm.
There was flames everywhere.
Yep. And Batman was just like, oh, I'm going to take a nap now. And then he wakes up in the police department.
And starts fighting cops.
That was bomb problem number one. Guess what? There's two bomb problems in this movie.
What's the second bomb problem?
Alfred just tosses the letter aside.
Oh, right.
And is perfectly fine. He's in a coma for maybe 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then he's perfectly fine. I was like, dude, you could have killed Alfred. And that would have been impactful.
Yeah.
Because Robert Pattinson at the beginning of the movie was a dick to Alfred.
Well, they did have that impactful moment where he's like, I never thought I'd feel that fear again.
That shit did nothing for me.
No?
Holy shit. Like that. The Zoe or the Catwoman scene where she's talking about like, that was my dad. And I was like,
I don't
wow,
care.
this I genuinely like physically in my seat shrugged. Because I was like, okay, like sure. And then we follow that scene up with the Robert Pattinson and Andy Serkis. I can't call them by their character names. The Batman and Alfred are in the hospital room and they have this touching moment. I say touching in quotations.
It took too long.
And I had no stakes in this.
No.
I did not give a shit. Where Batman is just like, I almost lost you. You know, that was really scary. I'm like, was it? Because as an audience member, I couldn't give less of a shit. I don't know. It just like it felt like they shoehorned some aspects into this movie where I'm like, if you cut this movie could have been a 2.5 hour thrill.
They did. And like Batman figured out that Bruce Wayne was going to be the next target.
Yeah.
So then he immediately tries to call Alfred.
Yeah.
And just everybody clearly has cell phones in this, but Alfred doesn't. It goes to like a dial.
Yeah, like a landline.
A landline.
Yeah.
And then nobody picks it up. But then the secretary, I guess, says, "Oh, we've been trying to reach you. Clearly, you have not."
Mm-mm.
Or does Batman just not carry his phone with him?
Or did this happen like 2 days ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Like there were some aspects of the like that was the thing though. Like the bomb goes off, does not kill him, and I'm like, that's not how bombs work. at all. They go for maximum damage.
Well, and obviously Riddler knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman.
No. See,
No?
that's the thing. He didn't. He was just mad that Bruce Wayne was like an entitled orphan, and everybody was focused on him rather than the actual orphans that weren't billionaire kids. So there is that creepy scene in the fucking asylum where he's like, Bruce Wayne. And you're like, oh shit, he figured out that he's Bruce Wayne. Like, this guy is smart. And then he like says Bruce Wayne so many times, and then he's like, man, he's the only one we missed. And I was like, oh, so you don't know who Bruce Wayne is?
No, I feel like he does.
I don't think he does.
I think he does because there's a couple scenes where you're inside like Riddler's apartment,
Yeah.
and you see all these newspapers plastered
of like who is the Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see
then you see Bruce Wayne's name.
You see Bruce Wayne in it a lot. So I think I'm pretty confident he's made that.
But
that
why
connection.
would he not like talk like? Well, first of all, why would he target Bruce Wayne if he wants to work with the Batman? That's my thing. That's my only thing.
But that was the last thing.
What do you mean?
That like Bruce Wayne was the last target.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just kind of like a keystone in his whole riddle. Because if he knew that it was Batman,
Tie up loose ends, I guess.
yeah, I guess.
I don't know. You know what? Honestly, it could go either way, but I feel like that was unclear. You know, I feel like I'm bagging on this movie.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely have been.
And honestly, I think I am because I'm quite let down. Unfortunately.
Well, and it's always easier to remember like bad things about a movie.
Yeah, there were some good moments, like
the car chase scene.
the car chase scene is a standout.
There was the hallway gunfight.
Yep, that was
where
dope.
you just had Batman walking towards two guys with assault rifles.
Yep. Oh, that was my other thing I wanted to bring up. Catwoman just missed her shot.
Yep.
Right before the lights went down. So she just missed.
Yeah.
Not because the lights were off.
Yeah, with Falcone just standing still.
Yep. So she just missed. I was like, okay, you didn't understand the assignment.
No.
And then later, Riddler men up on the scaffolding have a clear shot of the mayor, and then they miss. And they only shoot her in the side.
In the side.
And then Gordon saves her. And they all clearly have a shot, but Gordon just scrambles around a little and then drags her off the stage.
Yeah, there was what, like probably 10 or 11 guys
What
up
were
there,
the other guys doing?
all with rifles.
What were they doing?
And then you get a scene of only like 3 of them shooting.
Yeah. And I understand, like, you could wave that away with, like, these are probably fucking outcast nut jobs that don't know how to use rifles very well.
I honestly thought that they were just going to start, like, shooting civilians. I thought that was the
I thought
that was the
plan.
whole thing.
Yeah.
But no, they were literally only focused on the mayor.
Why? That's the thing. Riddler's plan, like, ultimate plan, didn't really work for me at all. Well, especially, like, the fact that you were supposed to figure it out, or Batman was supposed to figure it out by ripping up the carpet.
Yeah, because the first murder tool that the Riddler used was
a carpentry, not carpentry, a carpenter's tool.
Carpenter's tucker.
Yeah.
For carpets.
That's so obscure.
I know.
That's like, what? What?
But at the same point, the Riddler just had a random square of carpet in his house.
Good point. That was green. Riddler.
Yeah. No, didn't clue in. I thought it just looked like, wow, that's an ugly carpet.
Sure. You know? And like, what was he trying to do? Well, I guess he was trying to get rid of the mayor because he's sick of renewal projects.
I'm trying to figure out what his end game was.
Yeah.
Because he clearly meant to get captured.
Yes. And I kind of loved that scene where he's in the diner. And he's just like, I just ordered pie. And then he gets slammed down. I thought that was cool. But then, again, yeah, well, his plan was that he wanted to work with Batman. Like, he envisioned himself in a sort of like not demented, but like
master and servant.
A what?
Like a master and servant.
Well, he probably wanted to see them as equals. Like, he wanted to be
business partners.
Kind of like a Batman and Robin situation where he wanted to be Batman's Robin. Like, he's smart intellectually, but Batman's the real change. He's the
brains.
Yeah,
Batman's
in the bronze. Yeah, but like, And then Batman was like, no, you're a psychopath. And he's like, no, this isn't how this was supposed to go. And he was freaking out.
Now that you remind me,
Mm-hmm.
I am actually 100% confident that Riddler knew who Bruce Wayne was.
I don't think so.
No, because remember when Riddler asked to speak to Batman?
Yeah.
Calls Gordon, and Gordon says, like, Riddler wants to speak to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't say he wants to speak to Batman. As they're like going through that whole scene where they're looking at all the papers on the wall saying who's Batman, and then there's a bunch of Bruce Wayne stuff on there.
Yeah.
And then Batman says, "You're a good cop." I'm convinced that Riddler asked to speak to Bruce Wayne.
No.
I'm almost positive.
Well, if he did, he wouldn't want to tell Gordon about it.
No. But like the Riddler would have said, "I want to speak to Bruce Wayne." The secretary would have transferred it to Gordon to get in contact with him.
No, because Gordon doesn't know.
I feel like Gordon pieced it together.
No.
I feel like he did.
I feel like you're taking a step too far. I don't know.
I feel like he did.
Especially because like at the banquet or like the funeral, like Bruce Wayne does see him.
He wouldn't have had it then. He wouldn't have pieced it together until they were in the Riddler's room.
Yeah, but I feel like they would have made a bigger thing about Gordon being like, "Wait, you're Bruce Wayne?" Like, he would have like freaked out.
Nah, I feel like Gordon's smart enough to not.
I don't think so. I will fight you on this until the end of time.
We'll agree to disagree.
Sure. You know what we can agree on? That I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Because like I was gonna.
They could not have cast a better Penguin.
There you go. Let's talk about that.
This is the best Penguin ever.
I fucking loved him. I loved that they didn't go with like, he's typically a short guy. Let's get a short actor in here. Let's get Peter Dinklage to play the Penguin. No, they just made the Penguin a mob boss like freak.
Mob boss New Yorker.
Yeah, and they got him to waddle like a penguin at one point. It was hilarious.
That was funny. But like all the other scenes with Penguin, phenomenal.
Loved it.
You get to see him with Batman. You get to see him talking to Bruce Wayne, being like, "Whoa, kid! Oh, stay back!" And then you have fucking Falcone.
I loved it.
Being like, "Hey, you guys don't know who this." One of the scenes that I almost laughed at was Gordon showing a picture of some dude's face that the Riddler absolutely smashed.
Oh, that was the commissioner.
The commissioner.
That was the commissioner with the rat like clawing out the.
I was wondering.
Fucked up.
And literally, Penguin just goes, "Oh, come on! What do you show me that?
Come on!"
And Gordon's like, "Open your eyes!" It's like, "Come on!"
Yeah, I loved it.
That was
good. But yeah, I loved the Penguin. I did not like Falcone.
No.
I liked the Riddler. I didn't love the Riddler. I liked the Riddler. I didn't love how the Riddler ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Catwoman. I wouldn't say I loved Catwoman, and I can't say I loved Batman.
Yeah.
Annoyingly. And everybody's complaining about how, like, oh, man, you barely get to see Bruce Wayne in this movie. You only see, like, he's in the bat suit, like, 75% of the time. I'm like, well, same in the games.
Yeah.
Do you want to play as Bruce Wayne? Do you really want to see Bruce Wayne?
I liked Alfred.
I liked him too. I don't think we got enough of Alfred, to be honest with you.
I want to see the Alfred that is like the retired MI6 agent.
Well, this feels like that
we had a little bit of a taste with that being like a master cipher sleuth.
Yeah, we got the cipher sleuth, and then there's a passing comment where he says like, "I trained you to fight."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, did you? That's awesome.
I want to see like people, like big criminals, figure out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and then they start assaulting like Wayne Manor.
Oh,
and then you get to see.
Have you seen Kingsman, the first one?
Yes.
It's like the guy like guarding the plane, and just like holding it down and shit. Yeah. Like it'd be like that. Yeah. It'd be fucking awesome.
Well, and like I remember, this brings me back to like one comic book where it's a very similar situation. Like people are assaulting Wayne Manor. They know who Batman is, and there's like they're hunting for Batman, and Alfred stops them. And they're just like, whoa, you can't kill us. Batman doesn't kill. And then Alfred just blows them away with a shotgun and is just like, yeah, but I don't follow that rule.
Yeah, that was a line in this movie that got a good chuckle out of me because they go to the orphanage and Jeffrey Wright. I do want to speak about Jeffrey Wright, but like because I thought he was great.
He was.
Yeah, as Commissioner Gordon, or not Commissioner yet, Lieutenant Gordon. Anyway, Jim. They go to the orphanage, and Batman. He draws a gun again. Batman's like, "No guns," and then Jim Gordon's like, "Yeah, man, that's not my rule. Like
that's your rule.
That's
not
your
mine.
rule. That's not mine." I loved that. I really, really like Jim Gordon in this. Like, I love Jeffrey Wright as an actor, and I think he really nailed it in the terms of, like, these guys are just bros.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Jim Gordon trusts Batman
with his
so
life.
much because...
Throw a punch in my face. Take these keys. Go to the top floor.
Yeah. And then, like, later he's like...
Could have pulled that punch.
I did.
Well, and then when Catwoman gets that dirty cop and takes them up to this skyscraper that's apparently just permanently in the process of being built.
Yeah, working on it. I mean, it's Gotham. Funding
and then
probably ended.
Gordon and Batman just meet up and be like, "What are you here for?" Well, I thought you turned on the light.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I like that. I love their camaraderie together, and that they're kind of like Batman doesn't look down on Gordon, and Gordon doesn't pretend to be above Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I loved that. I loved how somebody I saw a post on Twitter talk about how like this version of Gordon is of course he wants like to use the Batman and wants like he's at his wit's end with the city because he can't enact any more change and he's seeing what the thing that Batman can do for the city.
Yeah.
So he's very much like I don't give a shit anymore. Whatever works. Like he seems like he's at its end.
He justifies the means to. Or he uses the means to justify the end.
Yeah, totally. It took me... I was listening to a podcast talking about this movie, and it took me till they discussed it on the podcast what the change in this movie was. Where... That's something I've been learning in my screenwriting and my playwriting classes, that like a story is only so good as the change that is enacted in its protagonist. Mm-hmm. Where is the protagonist at the beginning of the movie versus where are they at the end of the movie? And I was driving home with Beth last night where I was just like, what changed? Like, at the end of this movie, the only change I can tell is that the fucking city's flooded.
Yeah.
And then I realized, as I was listening to this podcast, they were talking about like how the change is Batman has realized the error in his way of being like, I'm vengeance. I'm fear. I want to strike fear into people. Mm-hmm. He realized, especially with that guy on the catwalk that says like, or somebody asked him like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm vengeance." And then Batman's like, "Oh fuck," because I have inspired that in that person, and that's not what I should be doing. That's not how I enact change in this city.
Well, and every time Batman said like, "Oh, I am vengeance. I do this for vengeance, 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 vengeance."
Yeah, goddamn, they say vengeance a lot.
They do.
Hey, vengeance.
I always thought like that didn't sound right. That didn't sound like something Batman would say, and that's because it used to be a meme that Batman was all about justice, not vengeance. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so every time I heard vengeance, it always just like sparked something in me. It's like, that's no
meme. But my point, like what I'm trying to get at is like the change in Bruce or in Batman is that he wanted to inspire fear in people at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the movie, he realized that he can do a lot more good for the city if he inspires hope. Mm-hmm. And that's when you see Batman in the daylight rather than at night. And that's when he's helping that.
He's helping
That's
people.
A really strong scene.
He's helping people face to face.
That's a super strong visual scene of where like he's carrying this person to the medevac helicopter and they kind of like hold on to his arm. And like he stays with them. He doesn't recoil away from it. Yeah. And he just stays with them and helps them up. And I was like, wow, that is impactful. And I think if you had focused on that aspect of change more in this film, I think it would have been a lot better. But you shoved it full of stuff.
Well, I think they do kind of focus on it a little bit more than you think. Okay. Because at the very beginning when he's like beating up the thugs that are harassing that one dude on the subway. Yeah. After he's done beating up the thugs, he turns to the civilians. Civilians like, "Don't hurt me, please."
Great point.
Like he's afraid.
Yeah. Batman isn't inspiring hope.
No.
He's inspiring fear, which is his tactic, but it's not.
but
it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's affecting everybody, not just criminals.
Totally. I liked that though. I liked how at the beginning of the film, I really, really liked how it started with him just like talking about what he's doing. And there's criminals that are looking at shadows after they see the bat signal, and they're genuinely, and you kind of feel it. You're
They're
like,
getting
oh, fuck,
terrified.
he could be in there.
Yeah.
He could be in the shadows. He might not be. And then the guy almost gets hit by a car because he's so fucking terrified. You know?
Just petrified.
Yeah, and I thought that was really, really powerful. And like this movie, to its credit, like does a lot with that.
It does.
There's moments where like Batman kind of just disappears, and you're like, "Holy fuck, where's the Batman? Like, where is he? Where'd he go? When is he gonna pop out?"
And he does that. He just disappears in a lot of scenes too.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Like that really, really works. So yeah, kudos to the movie. I'm not gonna bookend that thought with but they also fucked up by doing this. No, I think they did a really, really good job with that.
No, they did still show the message of, or they did show his transition from being an element of fear to being an element of hope.
My only thing about the hope thing, unfortunately, is that I don't think we saw the benefits of hope strongly enough.
It was in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because the real change is immediately after that guy says, "I am vengeance." And right then and there, you have the live wire tickling the water where the people are, and he jumps down there, he cuts the wire, he breaks off his flare, and he starts leading people out of the darkness into the light.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I also liked how the kid was the first one to grab his hand, and Batman was able to help the orphan boy, because everybody else was afraid of the Batman, but the kid saw him with the police, and they saw him do good here. That he was like, I'm willing to trust this guy if everyone else is.
Yeah.
Or I will be the first one to trust this guy. But yeah, I feel like I just shit on the movie for the last 45 minutes, but again, I think this is a good movie.
It's a good Batman movie.
I just don't think it's a great movie.
No.
And that bums me out quite a bit.
It had too many stories.
Way too many.
Granted, they did get tied up. Falcone got tied up and shot.
Yep.
Catwoman went upstate,
I guess. Yeah, that was another thing. The romance plot with those two.
Felt
like it just happened.
Yeah, I don't think it was romance. In the comic books, it is often romanticized.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, we know that Catwoman is using her femininity to basically get information and case these expensive dudes' places.
Yeah.
And then right at the beginning, she super quickly just kisses Batman.
Yeah.
And
because
then
she wants to get something right.
That's she wants his cooperation to help her get the information that he might have to find.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Her friend.
Yeah. And
then at the end of the movie, or there's towards the end of the movie, there's another scene that's super similar. They're both super close together. Then you can see Batman lean in super briefly, cuts to a wide shot of both of them, and she just nothing. She knows the answer of what happened to her friend.
Yeah.
She knows that she has nothing else here, and so she doesn't pursue anything.
This movie ends weird too. I feel something I mentioned earlier in the non-spoiler area was there was a shot where I was like, oh man, this might end here. And it was the shot of the question mark in the coffee. And I was like, oh fuck, that's a cool way to end it. They catch Paul Dano. But then I realized oh fuck, we still have I haven't seen the trailers gave away way too much for this movie.
Sometimes, yeah.
To the point where I feel they showed a lot of shit from the third act. To the point where I was like, man, I've already seen most of this in the trailers unknowingly. But that's marketing. But yeah, I this movie could have ended on the shot of him looking up, and in the sunlight, talking about hope and being I can make a difference for the city. But then we get a weird little motorcycle getaway with the two of them, and then they split off, and I'm just and then the final shot of the film is just a image or a shot on Batman's face, and then it ends. I'm like, you had a perfect way to end it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Again, I sound nitpicky, but
It was a good movie.
it was a good movie.
It's fun to rant on things too.
It is, and also like this movie left me indifferent, and that's something that I've been grappling with my own writing, is that you could hate a movie or you could love a movie, but you don't want somebody to be indifferent on a movie, because that means you have elicited no reaction. And in my tweet about my tweet review of the film, I put, this movie felt like a big shrug to me rather than the slam dunk I was hoping for. And that sucks, especially for a 3-hour film. But that's just me. I feel like I've taken up a lot of the space here. Is there anything you want to talk about for your first Batman movie?
First Batman movie, like I said, I can't base it off any other Batman movies because I haven't seen them. It was a movie.
Yeah.
And it had Batman in it. And like, I don't like Batman. I think his entire character, I've always compared him to Superman.
Really? I didn't know this.
No, I don't like how much people idolize Batman.
Okay.
This is like completely separate from the movie. Everybody says like, oh, Batman can beat Superman. No, he fucking can't. He can't.
No.
He can't.
No.
Superman can go into fucking space.
Superman's an alien.
Superman is a literal fucking god.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shot.
Mm-mm.
And people will be like, oh, well, Batman, like, that's the argument that I always hate. It's like, oh, well, Batman has. It's like, he's rich. Superman can just fly at the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And like hit him with his pinky finger.
Yep.
And shockwaves turn
But actually, if he uses kryptonite, then
turn his body into jello.
Yep.
And so like,
Kinda-
I've never.
kinda dumb.
That's another reason why I've like probably never seen a Batman movie,
Mhm.
is because I've grown up in a Superman household.
Oh, did you?
My dad is a huge Superman fan.
Oh, okay.
He has an entire room
So you have like a
filled with Superman.
a
stuff.
Batman slander campaign going on in your house?
No, it's something I've developed myself. My dad loves all DC superheroes. He just loves Superman.
Okay.
But I can definitely I see the appeal of Batman. It gives people something like, oh, hey, he's just a regular human. Like it's something more relatable.
Mhm.
Anyways, back to the movie.
Sure.
It was just a movie.
Yeah. And in my opinion, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because it could have been an amazing movie,
It could have been.
but it wasn't. That's the thing. I feel like potential.
Mm-hmm.
The potential was there for an amazing movie.
There is potential there, but I also wonder if that's kind of been skewed by Marvel movies too, because we always have like Marvel movies. They follow the same cookie cutter thing. We know exactly what we're gonna get.
Totally.
We know the universe
We know what it works.
that it exists in.
Mhm.
We know what characters are existing at the same time as the characters that we're watching.
Mhm.
And it felt like Batman tried to simulate that by just having more characters in it. And it didn't work for me.
Okay. I see what you mean. I think that like a lot of people, I remember when we went to the movie last night, when we walked out, one of us had mentioned like, I'm not a DC person. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. But I feel like this doesn't feel like a DC movie.
It doesn't.
Like, I applaud them for this because they're going in a different direction
It
in
feels
terms
like
of
a
like
one-off superhero movie.
yeah, and honestly, I like that. I like that approach way more to the serialized like you have to watch all these Marvel movies in order because I like that for the MCU. I don't need another version of that
No.
for a different universe.
No.
So give me random one-offs. Like give me the Joker. Give me the Batman. But don't make me have to be like, oh, you have to watch this movie in order to understand this movie. I think this movie stands up as by itself quite well. I think this movie does a great job of just being a standalone. Like, we're introducing Gotham, we're introducing Batman, we're introducing these characters. However, it's just bogged down by the fact that this movie has been done better by Christopher Nolan with The Dark Knight.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we know Batman.
Yeah.
Marvel is coming out with movies of characters that we don't know about.
Sure.
We've seen Batman how many times now?
I was going to bring that up. It's been like since 1988 we've gotten Batman.
Yeah.
That's 40 years of Batman, you know. I still love the character. I still think you could do a lot of cool stuff with Batman.
There's only so many ways you can do a beginning movie to introduce an actor playing Batman.
Yep. And I fear that, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, this movie didn't get me super excited for another version of this Batman.
No.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as it's a bit shorter, you know.
Well, and I feel like if DC wants to do like the Marvel thing, then they need to start bringing in other characters, because we already know it's like they rushed their introduction of the Justice League with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash.
Sure. Yeah, they
And
did for the they did.
Cyborg doesn't have anything.
No.
Cyborg's a super cool character.
Yeah.
But DC has a huge repository of characters that they can pull from.
Yep.
All of which have amazing backstories and stuff. But I feel like they just keep playing it safe by doing the characters that people will see in like toy stores.
Totally. I see what you mean. However, I feel like at this point they kind of have to keep playing it safe until they build up the reputation of DC. You know, like last night again, somebody said like I don't like DC movies, or I don't love DC. I feel like they need to build up their reputation again. Yeah, and I think to counter that point as well, like yes, they are focusing hard on the Justice League elements that they've created, like Aquaman and the Flash and the Batman, but they've also got Shazam. They've also got Black Adam. Like,
that is
we
true.
are getting some weird characters coming up.
We're getting those. Suicide Squad, I didn't even think about it at the time.
Great point, yeah.
Did amazingly.
And how many characters did you know from that?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was a movie.
It was a movie. I had a good time at the movie theater,
yeah.
And that's good enough for me. But I probably won't see this movie again.
Nope. Maybe like 5 years down the road, I'll be like, hey, why not?
Yeah. Let us know what you thought of the Batman, because I really want to hear. I wish we had a more like super glowing positive
review of
it, like of somebody in the room being like, I loved this movie. This movie was dope. Here's the reasons why. Because I feel like I don't want it to be super negative, but I just want to be honest. Like this wasn't my thing, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, let us know if you loved this movie. Because I really want to hear somebody's perspective, and I want somebody to fucking drag me down and be like, man, Rand, you got to calm down with your criticisms, man. Just enjoy the movie for what it is.
We need somebody to call us out.
Yeah, honestly. I'd appreciate it a lot. We need comments. Fill that comment section, baby.
The controversy breeds insight, I guess?
Yeah. Opposition.
Yes.
You know? Disagree with me, baby. So at the end of the day, I didn't think Batman was bad, man.
It was just man.
It was man. It was a shrug and a half for me. Oh, you know what? What's your rating scale?
So my one rating scale was the Mohs hardness scale. My whole plan was to just use a different rating scale. Like I was going to use the Richter scale at one point.
I'm going to use the Mohs Hardman scale. Hardman scale? Is
hardness.
Hardness.
It's literally just measuring how hard a rock is.
Right.
I'd say it was a quartz. That's like, what, a 7?
A quartz is a 7.
God, I'm good.
I would give this movie... I'm right there with you. I'd give it a quartz.
It's a quartz movie.
It's a quartz movie. It's not a diamond.
No.
And it's not talc.
No, it's way better than talc.
Way better than talc.
Way better than a fingernail.
Yeah.
It's like, what,
absolutely.
a 2.5?
Yeah, it's 2.5. Look at you. You know your hardness.
Yeah, I know hard.
Yeah, I'd give it a quartz.
Yeah.
This is a quartz movie.
This is a quartz movie.
Junk Monkeys certified quartz movie. Thank you very much for listening to yet another adventure into the podcasting landscape with myself and Noah Garbutt. We will be back in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention the Junk Monkeys film draft.
Oh,
This is Mike's. This is the first film of everybody's lists to actually come out.
We don't still know the rating yet.
We don't know it yet. I took a look this morning.
Yeah, we are going to wait 2 weeks after a movie is released.
So that all the reviews can pour in.
Yeah, so we're not just getting biased reviews right off the get-go.
Because, like, IGN gave it a 10, right? Yeah. And at first I was like, oh, man, this movie's probably going to get, like, 80s or whatever, like 90s, like, big win for Mike. I looked this morning, it's like a 76.
That's still 6 points.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
That's 6
it's a great
points.
6 points.
That's 6 points more than what anybody else has.
Yeah, we have nothing so far. You have Lightyear, right?
I have Lightyear.
Oh, fuck. I saw a poster for it in the movie theater, and I was like, ooh, I'm excited to watch that.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, cut to us doing a spoiler review. I just think the movie wasn't that good. It just fails to understand the importance of Buzz Lightyear.
I don't know any lore on Buzz Lightyear, so I can't speak for it. I feel like Buzz Lightyear is really echoing Bud Lightyear. Sorry. God. Anyways. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for listening. We will update you in 2 weeks' time on Mike's Metascore and the film draft in general, because I don't know when.
Probably have a Twitter post about it.
Yep. I'm waiting for Mike to give me the rest of his picks.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, if you're listening, send me your picks. Anyway, couple shout outs to do. Thank you, Daniel Mosionier, for the fantastic music and the editing. And yeah, you're really great. And we appreciate you. You know who else we appreciate?
The viewer?
The viewer.
We always
the
appreciate
listener.
We always appreciate the viewer.
The audience.
Dallas, if you're listening to this, we see you.
We know you're listening. You didn't watch the movie. But you're listening anyway, and we appreciate that. Tiani, where are you? You know?
Probably still angry at Chris.
Probably. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for listening to like our stuff. Please go listen to the film draft episode. It really hurt me like personally when nobody watched it. And if you're at this point in the video, you probably did. Anyway, thank you to the Creation Nation Makerspace for letting us use your dope pad for recording and stuff.
Putting up with all our shit.
All our shit. All over the place. We're gonna go and probably never think about this movie again.
I mean, I will when the review comes out.
Yeah. But
I'll think about it for this year.
Okay.
Until next year's film draft, and then I'll remove it from my brain.
It's a great way of looking at it. All right. Well, yeah, thank you again, and we will, it's not bad, man.
No.
I'm going to end on that. You ready? Hold on, let me do one more take. Here we go. Thanks for listening, and just remember, it wasn't bad, man. Bye.